happy to keep talking so that they can tell that we don't have.
Will you keep going until we get sound?
Can we hear sound now?
Oh, hang on, I know why.
Oh, excuse me.
Have we got sound? Ooh.
Yep. Karina has sound. We're all good. Woohoo!
Can someone check the live stream right now? I've got comments coming in from.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Okay, we're starting again. It's Thursday. Hi, everybody. Apologies for that start. And we seem to have a
Yes.
A rogue Facebook thing happening.
bug in the system, so let's just ignore him.
Yeah. Anyway.
Someone keeps trying to hack us.
No, not hackers.
Not hackers?
No, he's just posting.
So, what's aperitivo?
What's aperitivo? It's that thing you have at the end of the day when you've had a good day or any sort of day. Most commonly you see people in Italy from one end of the country to the other at about 4:30 having a small glass of prosecco and a nibble on something. That's aperitivo.
It's
But,
sort of a break time between the end of the day and the start of the night.
Yeah, that's it. It's a very long-held tradition. It goes back hundreds of years. It's nothing new. The earliest documentation of it is like around the 1700s, and at that time people would have had a small glass of vermouth. And over time it's grown from that to other things added to that, things, and now it's a huge range of things. But the thing you most see is Prosecco.
Prosecco.
And that's now been overtaken by Aperol spritz and all manner of spritz. Spritz is made out of all sorts of things. So but anyway, we'll do our own little bit of aperitivo and start with a little bit of Prosecco.
Cheers.
Cheers,
Here's
everybody.
to Thursdays,
Now,
4 o'clock.
we've particularly chosen the Riccadonna here because it mixes so well with our liqueurs and aperitifs. And also we're going to taste this first because it's probably the lightest thing we're going to taste today. So,
Yeah.
So
rather
how's-
than have everyone, get themselves 1,000 glasses, we're going to have to do a bit of recycling here. But we're not sharing our glasses, so it's all
Now,
okay.
just to point out another matter of interest, which someone said to me, oh, why are you sending me Riccadonna? Because these days Riccadonna make Prosecco. It's no longer the spumante, that's gone away. The people at Campari bought out the people that owned Riccadonna and changed it over from making all of this spumante style drinks to making Prosecco because they wanted that to go with their offering.
All of their portfolio of lovely things.
No?
What does everyone think about this Prosecco?
It's light and dry.
Yeah.
I think it'll mix very, very well.
The good thing about a Prosecco like this, which may sound a bit shady, is you actually, for your first drink of the day, you want it to be light and refreshing,
And
not too flavourful. And that's
It needs to go well with toothpaste, I think, your first drink of the day. Just saying.
Bit of lemon and apple going on.
Now, with Prosecco, why would you choose a Prosecco over, say, like an Australian sparkling or something like that?
You can't really compare the two because they're not. One's made most Australian sparklings are made in a French style, so they're really about Chardonnay and Pinot Noir and those kind of flavours.
Yeah.
Prosecco's not meant to be like that. It's not a celebration drink. You wouldn't open a bottle of. Well, you might. You can open a bottle of Prosecco for, your birthday or whatever. But generally, it's made for just a light drink, like we're having now. At the end of the day, first drink, light.
But then why is it good for aperitivo?
It's
just 'cause
the reason it's so good for aperitivo. It's light and crisp. A lot of French style sparklings have a lot of depth and complexity, which is what you're looking for, but not great for mixing with sort of bitter, herbal, orangey sort of things.
Yes, okay.
Because it's got a little bit more fruit flavour, a little bit more fruit character in, say, something like your Prosecco, it can hold up against something really dry and bitter.
Okay.
Your champagnes tend to go really well with soft, fruity things.
Yeah.
So kind of sweet goes with dry.
Yeah, okay. There you go.
Yeah. So that sort of thing.
Yeah, the two styles not to be confused or compared. I don't think.
Does anyone have any other thoughts on this Prosecco?
Tom, we might need to speak up a little bit.
Yeah.
Speak up a
Okay,
little bit.
sorry.
Yeah.
Speak up.
Yeah, you said a bit of lemon, a bit of apple.
Yeah, a bit of green apple. That sort of crispness is nice.
Janine suggested we could use it instead of toothpaste.
That's a good idea.
That's the reason we're friends.
Well, I always expected it's always just sort of like lemony, sort of lemon meringue kind of juicy kind of.
Oh, meringue.
It's got a bit of light
And
bubble.
definitely get the green afterwards.
Now we will be pouring quite small today because we're going to rocket through all of these pretty quickly. So,
Okay, now we go back to the original parts of a aperitivo. It was originally vermouth like this, just a little bit of a sip, whatever, and then later on they started adding things to it. And the first things they started adding to it, I don't know when, it must have been after the 1700s, must have been in the 1800s sometime, was bitters, like just a drop, just to make it, because this is a bit sweet, just to tone it off a bit. And over time, that changed from just being just vermouth with just a dash of some bitters to being 50-50. And then came what they call the Americano, which is that then was added some soda to lift it up.
and then we come to where we are going today, which is called a Sabagliato, which is also referred to as a Negroni spritz. And there's a little rumour that goes around, which is quite a lovely romantic idea, that a bartender was making a Negroni and he accidentally grabbed a bottle of sparkling instead of a bottle of gin. Now, is that necessarily what happened? Probably not, because I think they look pretty different.
I think it's...
But that's a lovely story, Russ.
Okay, well I've got another lovely story, Luke, and that is I actually think they were making an Americano, which is a vermouth with your Campari,
Soda.
topped up with soda, and went, soda, boring. Oh, soda's flat, I'll use Prosecco.
Well, the word for Sabagliato comes from the word mistake. So there you
Well,
go.
I think they...
I love it. I think it's a
I
great
don't think
mistake.
it was a mistake at all. So what we're going to do...
Well, we also have these delicious goodies here from Michelangelo's that
Indeed we do.
a lot of you guys have at home as well.
So this is so if you haven't already, have a look at Michelangelo online. They do fabulous stuff. Ilaria and Matteo have provided us with gorgeous food over the years, all yummy. So
Yeah.
awesome. So big shout out to them.
Yeah, thank you very much. It looks delicious.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So what are we starting with?
We're going to start with Campari. The reason I'm starting with the Campari is I haven't had Campari in a little while. We're going to do a little sip taste before we turn it into a cocktail.
You're not going to sip the... No? Okay. I'll
it's-
go with you.
Campari is a bitter.
Yeah.
What's that?
So basically a very Italian style of drink and a very traditional style of drink. A lot of, if you look at way back before we actually talk about proper drinking culture, a lot of traditional spirits were about medicine and about getting medicinal herbs and healthy juices and all that sort of stuff into your body. And as we were doing that, we added alcohol. It helps preserve all of those things. It's a good delivery system for absorbing flavour. And so then a lot of the Italians created herbal liqueurs and bitter liqueurs, which then grew into what is now bitters and amaros and aperitif style spirits.
There you are.
But again, it all starts sort of here. It grows out. You know, we've got... Vermouth is like a flavoured wine with a whole lots of different things added. And, you know, something that's not new, really.
Basically, bitters and aperitif style spirits are to spirits what vermouth is to wine,
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Right.
if that helps at all.
Yeah.
Which is why they often ended up becoming paired together.
Yes. And it has a fantastic colour. I enjoyed bottling these because it was just so bright.
Oh,
Ross is jumping the gun here.
sorry.
Yeah, electric red. And just for everyone at home, they no longer use cochineal.
What is that?
Cochineal is the traditional red colourant that is used in a lot of food safe.
Oh, what do they use now?
Came from bugs, didn't it?
No, it's actually a type of fungus that grows on cactus.
Oh.
it
People
was
spread
beetle.
rumours that it was beetle shells. It's not. It's a type of small fungus that looks a bit like a beetle.
Isn't that the joke always made about sarsaparilla?
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway, so it is actually not animal byproduct, which is important.
So vegan.
Yeah.
Good, good.
Well, apart from vegan, it's a bloody amazing colour, isn't it? So red.
Great nail polish colour.
So that's the other thing is if you were to ask someone, are there any artificial ingredients in Campari? Yes. and that's so that we no longer use cochineal,
Okay.
which is the only artificial ingredient, is the colorant, which I think is
Okay.
pretty acceptable.
It's a pretty exciting colour.
Now this is going to be, if you taste this is going to be as bitter as all bitter.
Yeah. Don't worry, guys. Take a small sip.
Don't drink it, just a little.
What do you
Scare
think
your
it
palate.
smells like?
Lollies.
Lollies.
Burnt orange.
Burnt orange. There's a herbal note to it.
Yeah.
Almost a sagey sort of green.
Yeah. I'd say sage is a good get.
It almost reminds me of sort of that like Panadol that you had when you were little, like medicine.
Cough syrup.
Cough syrup.
Yeah, I get it.
But in a good way. Like,
Good medicine. Very good
Yeah,
medicine.
Yeah.
Good medicine.
Yeah, this will pick her up.
Doesn't fix you up. Yeah.
As I say, it is very bitter. We're only having a little sip before we move on to the actual cocktail.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa doesn't think it's too bitter. She thinks it's just perfect. It's in fact the colour of her mask.
Right.
Beautiful.
That is bitter. Wow.
We're still in that
Yeah. Oh, very good.
retry
all right.
colour.
Now,
Rachel's chasing it.
It's an interesting mouthfeel.
Hmm.
I think you don't notice it as much because you're sort of like, bitter.
Okay, I've had it.
But that's, I think, where you get the lolly feel from.
now
It's just
hold
that-
on to your Campari
Almost
glasses. We're going to keep
syrupy.
those separate
Oh.
for the time being. Now we move on
Also,
to...
we're going something different.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Ooh.
Don't lose that though.
Cinzano.
Put your Campari to the side.
Cinzano. We're going to do just a tiny dash. This isn't making our cocktail just yet.
Jared has said, yes, this needs mixing. I couldn't sit down and drink that straight. Too right. So, what is
Just a dash,
vermouth?
Ross. We're having a dash.
Oh.
What
I'm
is
having a dash.
vermouth,
I'm dashing
Ross?
into it.
I remember in my first week here, you told me all about vermouth. You're like, this is where we're going to start.
No, well, it is where we're going to start. Well, it's start off. It's red wine that's been flavoured by a range of herbs and spices, and then fortified with some fortifying spirits. So it brings up to about 15% down there somewhere.
Okay.
But the one thing it does have, it makes it vermouth apart from being wine that's been fortified. One of the herbs and spices that has to have wormwood in it,
Wow. Yeah, okay.
as in what's in absinthe.
Yum.
No wormwood, no vermouth. So absinthe is wormwood in spirit, vermouth is wormwood in wine.
Okay.
That has a bit of a toffee wine gum sort
And then
of
after that,
smell.
they can add whatever herbs and spices they like, and it's vermouth. So that's why everyone has their own take, because they go, well, a bit more of this, a bit less of that, maybe something
So
else.
we've got a Rosso. So what does that mean?
It's a red. The original vermouths were red wine, sweetened red wine.
Yep.
With worm, but they have to sweeten because wormwood is so bitter. So it's sweetened red wine, fortified with wormwood, and then other things.
Okay. So this is one of the sweeter
Yeah.
vermouths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Janine said, went straight to the cocktails, pedal to the metal.
Smooth mover. Alright.
Felix, it says, how do you fortify wine?
Well, it's a very old technique. What they do is they add wine spirit, a bit like a brandy kind of spirit, to the wine to stop the fermentation. You want to take the fermentation to a point where they like it, well, like, oh, that's how sweet we want it.
Yep.
Then they add the spirit, which will kill the yeast.
Yep.
And that stabilises it. So it's a good way to stabilise wine. And so probably that's where I guess that's where it first started. So sherry, port, vermouth, muscat, all those things are all fortified. And the idea was to add some spirit just to stop the fermentation, because then you knew exactly what the flavour profile you had. If you let it keep going, the yeast keeps eating up the sugar and it gets less sweet as you go along.
Alright, cool. Well, let's fortify the vermouth. Fantastic.
Alright.
Now what?
Is this very syrupy vermouth? This?
Yeah, you're going with that in.
Into our Campari. So what we're doing here is we're doing a half. Now, if you guys at home want to do a full, by all means,
So we've gone half Campari.
half
Half
Rosso.
Okay.
Half shot of each, yeah.
So technically, a very traditional recipe for a spritz is 2 parts spirit, 3 parts Prosecco, 1 part soda. So, it's alright. It's going to be a little bit tricky to get everyone in our tasting,
Coordinating is slightly harder.
On the same page.
but that's okay. I'm just going to give this a whiff.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you add just soda to this, it would be called Americano.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited.
And that's also something you do in an aperitivo as an Americano, but
So we've got Campari, half, vermouth, half.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Very well done. And Luke, you've just put ice in yours.
I have, and I'm just smelling this for the time being. We are going to add our prosecco very quickly. Oh, yum! You want to make sure that the herbal from your Campari is coming through, and the sweetness from your Rosso is coming through. If you can't smell both, balance it out. Easy,
Cool.
easy.
Interesting.
Anyway, on the aperitivo journey, this was the next step from just a straight vermouth to the next
So you've got
big
two parts.
innovation in aperitivo was the Americano. But the traditionally in Americano, then you add soda.
Oh, but we're not going to do it.
We're not going to do that.
We're not going to do it.
We're going to make the Negroni spritz or the
Sbagliato.
or whatever you want to call it, but we now add.
So you've been quite generous with the prosecco there, Luke.
Oh, yeah.
Well, everyone at home and everybody wherever you are, the
Yeah.
amount of prosecco you add is up to you.
Okay.
So if you want it, just add a bit, have a taste, and think, yeah, that's how I like it.
Yep.
And if it's still a bit too strong, add a little bit more.
Prosecco.
It looks like a lot of prosecco, but we've also put
Well, you've got ice in
a
it.
fair bit of ice in here. So
That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it can be a long drink or a short drink.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
it.
Nice.
It depends how you feel. That's a mood
Would
thing.
you ever put prosecco and soda water? Would that be it?
No,
if
you
no,
can
no,
do that if you
that's,
want.
that's where we're going.
Oh.
You
Yeah.
can, you can do that if you want.
Sorry,
Sorry, speed ahead.
Now the other trick to do at home
2 parts spirit,
was
3 parts prosecco, 1 part soda.
Being tricky, so it's now a spritz.
Now it is officially a spritz.
So that's mine.
Yum.
There you go. Make you one.
Please and thank you.
Now the other thing that we often do at home is we get a bottle like this and then we put 50-50 vermouth and Campari in the fridge door. And then when you come
Easy
home, you
access.
just go into the glass and then as much Prosecco as you be bothered pouring into it and you're no mucking about.
Goodness. Well, it's an easy way to do it.
Yeah.
Do you usually go for the Campari size bottle or the Cinzano size bottle? Ooh.
I've made a horrible mistake. Wait, don't
Ta-da!
take it away. I've got to add soda.
Woo!
These
Exactly.
guys actually haven't read the recipe, in case you hadn't noticed.
Jen has said yes, that's better. Lisa says better with ice. Nice and chilled.
Stop jumping the gun.
You boys are a bit tetchy tonight.
Sorry. Ross has
Soda,
had a
please.
couple of alcohol-free days and is really busted for
Soda.
it.
Yum! That's delicious.
There you go.
Thoughts, feelings, opinions?
Yum.
Yum.
Yum. Justina says don't forget the garnish. How could we?
Well,
Oh,
easy
thank you,
peasy.
Justine.
Honey soda.
Now,
Orange.
I'm going orange peel here.
Ooh.
Trying to reduce the juiciness.
Reduce the juice.
You know, being a Negroni style cocktail, a little bit of orange oil never hurts.
I'm going to go for an orange slice.
Good.
Me too.
I've gone more juice the better.
Yum yum.
Yum. Juicy juice.
So, yeah, I reckon that's
Yum. One of my
Little bit
favourite
of
things.
herbal,
Oh, wow.
little bit of dry orange,
Yeah.
a little bit of red wine, a little bit of prosecco,
now I'm feeling the full aperitivo thing happening.
and the
So you
soda
have something to eat.
does brighten it
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, what is
I think also it's a real mouth cleanser, isn't it? Palate cleanser. So if you
it's pretty light still.
And that's the whole reason for it,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Palate cleanser.
Yeah.
That's
It
how
cleanses
comes
your
about.
palate, gives you enough flavour. It's supposed to help you start salivating, so you get hungry, get ready for dinner.
or get ready for
or Get
antipasto.
ready for antipasti.
So an aperitivo, you forget the rest of the day, you start talking about where you're going out for dinner, you have one, maybe two, not a lot, just enough to get you.
But it's light enough that you can then, from here, you can go and drink anything. You know? Because it's not too sweet or thick or rich.
Yeah.
Yum, yum, yum.
Joe said, I like it better without the soda. And Zara has said, very nice. Liz has also said, I like the way it matches Rosh's shirt, so when it disappears when you've got it in front of you.
Mine kind of matches my pants as well. Anyway.
Oh, but so we're going to stand side up.
Drinks do tend to disappear in front of Ross.
Yes, true.
As I was going to say, it's not the first time, yeah.
And Jenna says cherry tomato basil is really good with it.
Ooh.
Yum.
I'm going to pick the breadstick.
I'm gonna actually dive into
What are you diving into?
a little bit of prosciutto.
Prosciutto? I don't know what I want.
The other genius of a lot of antipasto foods is they're small and picky, but usually quite high in salt. So it's like a nice juicy aperitivo cocktail. Perfect.
Jared says, looks great, tastes great. So.
Michelangelo have beautiful prosciutto too, don't they?
Yeah.
Ooh, and Lisa said, great with a slice of mandarin.
Yum.
Yum, yum. Rachel, would you like a nibble?
We do have quite a few of us in the tasting today. So if you see bottles going around, people moving about, we're just trying to make sure that we get booze and food to everyone. It's very important that our staff are looked after.
Booze and food, that's the way.
You know.
Well, look at them.
What is that?
Got into it.
Yum, yum, yum.
I'm still none the wiser.
Yum.
Yum.
Easy, easy.
Thank you, Matteo and Ilaria. Just beautiful.
I must say, I was driving around today with a boot full of these platters delivering.
I know, it's so difficult.
And it was fine for the first hour or so, and then we hit lunchtime. And every time I go open the, I'll be like, oh no, it smells so good.
I know, I was taking one up to Justine probably about 2 o'clock. And I hadn't had lunch yet.
And it's like, yum,
yeah.
yum, yum.
I was walking in the sun, so it started to warm up, and I got that beautiful, salty, fatty aroma. And I came back and I went, all right, guys, I'm having lunch. It needs to be done. Okay.
Delicious.
Are we good to move on?
Yes, please.
Everybody, find yourself an empty glass that you've previously consumed from. That's just specific.
Oh, and Ilaria has said, thank you, you are the best. No, you are.
You are. No, you are.
No, you are.
All right, we're going to move on to
No, Luke is.
the Cynar.
Cynar?
Yeah, tell us about Chino.
So Cynar is one of a very traditional herbal drink, herbal aperitif, if you wish. Now, a lot of the other aperitifs are orange-based. Things like Campari is like your very heavily bitter orange. Things like your Aperol is your bittersweet orange.
Well, what's this made out of?
This is made out of lots of different herbal elements. There is a little bit of orange in there, but the main bittering agent, rather than just wormwood, is actually artichoke leaves.
And that's why there's an artichoke on the label.
If you look at the label, big old artichoke on it.
I got really confused when I started working here. I was like, why? I'd never come across this before, and now I know more about it. And I was like, it looks like an artichoke. It's because it is an artichoke.
And that's how I learned.
It's really surprising you survived the first week.
Someone
It
said,
was one of the first lessons, so it was fine.
It's all about them, and some of it's got artichokes.
and that's how I learned. Someone came in and they said, do you have that artichoke drink? And I went, huh? And then Ross goes, that one. And I went,
There's actually
what?
not a huge range of artichoke drinks to choose from. Surprise, surprise.
No, there's something a bit more interesting that Luke and I were discussing earlier. He had a crack at me because saying, oh, it's not an Amaro. Because what it says on the bottle is
Riccetta.
Riccetta. What is a Riccetta? I mean,
What is
it's
a
only-
Riccetta?
I don't know what a Riccetta is. But then he said it's a type of Amaro. And you go, well,
Well, the word Amaro just means bitter.
does it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of the time we say, what's an Amaro? Right? Like it's a very distinct type of thing. It is now, but traditionally it was any bitter spirit, any bitter liqueur. So is this a bitter? Absolutely. Is this what we know to be an Amaro? Not really. So they call it a Riccetta, which is more of a herbal-based Amaro.
Kent says, I love this. Normally on Thursday night, I'd just be drinking. Tonight, I'm learning something.
And the interesting thing then about this, the artichoke, what you eat is usually just the tiny little bit that
The
connects the leaves to the flower. This actually uses all of the other bits you don't normally eat
Because they're so bitter.
because they're bitter and they're woody, and it really plays on that, and you get almost a
It does smell.
smoky nose.
It does. It smells like smoked wood.
It smells like hickory almost. Is that not quite?
No?
God, was this the first lesson I taught you about drinking things?
I think so.
That's a scary place to start. That's a real world.
It was a very
down the rabbit hole.
You did sit me down. You're like, all right, this is going to be a long lesson. I was like, all right, cool, sweet.
I'm still surprised she's still here.
And is he still here?
You've got to sometimes throw them in the deep end.
You can't keep a good Taswegian down.
The other thing is, when you start working here, we don't have a plan on what we're going to teach you.
Oh,
We
spoiler alert!
No. We usually wait for someone to ask a silly question.
There are no silly
No
questions.
silly questions.
But if you
Oh, yes.
Silly
yes.
answers.
yeah. So sometimes someone will ask something like, "What's this?" And it's something that's got a really long history that's very complicated.
It's got to be a quiet day when you ask that
Oh
question.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't actually think that's as bitter as Campari for me. I think maybe it's
It's
got
a different style of bitterness for
Wow.
sure.
Now, what are the ABVs on? So the Campari's.
It was about 40,
25.
25.
This bad boy is 16.5. So I think part of the reason it doesn't taste as bitter is it's a lower alcohol.
Well, it is quite bitter though.
But it's bitter
not
and
afterwards.
sweet.
Afterwards, it's got a beautiful aftertaste. It's really nice. I like it.
Amaris can be quite. There's a range of different ABVs. on
Anything.
Amaris.
They can
Okay,
be.
they can just do whatever.
I've seen some go up to 40, 45,
Yeah.
where they basically are making a bitter spirit. And then there's more that are sweet, like a liqueur. So that's why there's no one type of Amaro.
Artichoke's one of my favourite vegetables.
Beautiful.
So now what are we doing, Luke?
We do it all again.
Woo!
Now, I'm going to hold off on the soda for this one until we think we want it.
Okay.
So we just put Prosecco straight into the Cynar.
Should I get another bottle of Prosecco?
I will.
Beautiful.
I'm going to add ice to
I'm
mine.
gonna add- oh. And we didn't talk about the colour of this one.
It's a beautiful dark caramel colour.
It sort of looks like furniture polish colour.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Oh, okay. Let's have a smell of that. Wow.
What, when you put sparkling in?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it all
that's a
just
good
changes completely.
completely changes. Which is part of the fun of a lot of these aperitivo cocktails.
Now, what kind of ratio did you go with this one? So we did a half Cynar, and then you put about,
Probably the same amount as last time, if not half.
so yeah, generous-ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, more about double what.
Yeah, so 1 to 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But you know, all these things are like they're a starting point.
Yeah.
Traditionally it uses
And it's worth.
in like a
personal
big
preference.
glass 2 shots of Cynar.
Yeah, okay.
Also,
Again, the 3-2.
being 16.5%, it's not going to get you drunk, that's for sure.
Oh, you could give it a...
Well, it depends on
I
what you
mean-
have, but yeah.
People get drunk on beer, and that's only 5%.
Traditionally, if you add ice and soda and sit on it for an hour,
Yeah, true.
you know? But,
Now we haven't discussed where we want to be drinking these. I already know I want to be drinking it. Sun.
I wanted to be drinking this at 3 o'clock this afternoon
Oh.
when the sun was out and it was 20 degrees
It was warm.
and it was warm and lovely. I was
We chose
pretending,
a good day to do these, actually.
yeah, I was
We knew it.
spent
No,
all day thinking about this,
Sunday
having a little
afternoon,
Italian holiday in my head.
4:30, outside of Verona, or Venice, or Florence, or any of those places.
Yeah, okay.
Vivian, can I open
No.
the second, please?
No.
Off
Vivian-
camera, I'm watching Vivian attempt to open a bottle of
You
Riccadonna.
can't open it, you can't drink it.
True.
Just like if you can't carry it, you can't drink.
That's exactly right.
Okay, do you get any particular aromas?
Almost salted caramel on the nose.
I can definitely get the apple still, but I guess there is a fair bit of Prosecco. But
Yeah, there's a bit of apple in there.
It completely changes it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It brings out that oranginess almost.
Oh, I'm with
garnish.
Well, hang on.
Sorry.
No, Luke's going on to the next stage.
Okay, sorry. Apologies.
Talk.
Yeah, it's a bit brighter now, which is good.
I give you salted caramel.
Oh, it's so delicious. It's got a great aftertaste.
I'm gonna put in with this.
The bitterness is like just really nice.
It leaves it refreshing because it doesn't leave a sticky
Now you can put
freshness.
in a drop of soda now as well to make it a proper spritz.
I am indeed. I'm
Yeah, you
also
put
going
it-
to add a whole lot of lemon.
Whole lot of lemon.
Lemon or
And it's not particularly sweet either, which I enjoy.
No, the sweetness dies off pretty quickly. I like lemon. It's a bit different. I also like a heavily garnished aperitivo.
I'm going back to the orange.
Is the lemon good, Luke?
I like it. I wouldn't probably go as much as me.
Thank you.
I might try orange. If someone can pass me the plate.
Orange.
And again, when you add the soda, you just need a dash. And if the taste is still too strong, have another dash.
Janine has suggested maybe the backyard of Elwood Resort.
Yeah.
Well,
That was my-
certainly happened.
That was my plan.
Beautiful.
Oh no, that is just
So you want orange, Cynar, Prosecco,
dash of soda
dash of soda.
and I'm on it. There's a lot of these.
The Cynar being a lower ABV, if you don't want your soda water, it's up to you.
I think I'm kind of disappointed putting lemon with it. I think it's flattened it out.
Take the lemon out, put some orange in.
True.
Shh, don't look.
Yeah, yum.
It's nice with orange.
That's just my personal opinion that it has. But
No, I like it with orange.
But we're getting the feeling that we're now sort of, 20 past 4, street cafe, somewhere in Italy, outside.
Hang on, it was 4:30 before. Look, guys getting shorter.
no,
Yeah,
no,
I
no,
know.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, I know.
I think we should just aim to eat it, drink it in Australia myself. I think,
Elwood Resort.
we can't all come to our place, but whatever.
I was walking down the street in Brunswick today when it was 20 degrees and
It would have been
the
fun.
drink just there.
Yeah.
We'll have aperitivo over at 11 a.m.
No, it was midday, guys.
Luke did come into the store and he's like, I feel like I've been in Italy today. And I was like, that's a brilliant start.
I'm wearing bright colours.
Yeah.
I was in the sun. I went to the Italian supermarket. Got myself some squid ink for some pasta. I made pasta yesterday. I'm having a little Italian holiday in my head.
Oh, beautiful.
What could be better?
Okay. I could have an Italian holiday in my head too, that'd be great.
And Colette has said that she prefers the orange as well. And Lisa says mandarin and strawberry.
Strawberry, I can see. That'd be good. I'm finding this a lot more refreshing actually than the Sabaghiato. Having tasted back and forth a little bit.
I know, but I just like saying Sabaghiato.
Now, Karina has asked, how is Cynar pronounced?
We
It
look-
is Cynar.
Cynar.
We've got
The
there's a
Italians
there's a little
say-
video of the gorgeous Luca from Campari on our Facebook page, I think, on Instagram.
Yeah.
And he says Cynar. So if he says Cynar, it's Cynar.
We follow him.
We do
Also,
it.
we looked up multiple sources. Everyone who got it wrong was not Italian.
Yeah.
So we, went with the Italian, and
Yep.
it is Cynar.
There you go.
But, there's people saying Cynar,
If
Also
Luca
Cynar.
if Luca says Cynar, it's Cynar.
Cynar.
And if he's wrong, then he has us fooled.
Well, he works for Campari,
Yes.
shouldn't he? He sells the stuff. He should.
He
know.
should blame on that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm noticing on the back of the bottle it says Cynar and tonic.
Mm.
Is that good?
Interesting.
I don't know, I haven't had Cynar and tonic, but I might have to try that. That's on my list now.
Now, do we have any favourite combinations here?
I like all of them.
I'm gonna go. Does anyone want to revisit anything?
What,
The other thing
what
is-
happens if you put vermouth with Cynar?
Hell yeah. Do you want to try?
Yeah.
Bring a glass.
Is there any combination of you put all three?
I'd be careful. You're
Oh, it'd be too bitter.
2 bitters
Ah.
and 1 vermouth. So you might want to do half of this,
Yep.
and 1 of those.
Okay.
Do you know, like make this
I
into a
don't think
thing
I will
flavor.
because it'll get too confusing, a bit muddy.
I
Can
think
I
also,
give it a
aperitivo needs to be relatively simple.
Yeah, that's the idea. It's something simple at the end of the day. And it's not something
Don't
big
overthink
guzzling gallons of.
If you have to,
Clever.
if you have to work hard to remember how to make it, it's not aperitivo. It's an exam.
And the other thing is,
Then you go back to just having a vermouth with ice or a glass of prosecco.
Ah.
And Laria has also confirmed that Cynar is correct.
Yes. And if you want to learn to speak Italian in Queen Street, Ilaria's your girl.
Yeah, can I try that Colette, as well?
What are you trying?
The Cynar with the
what have you got in there?
vermouth. Is that vermouth?
Ooh. Any of these, would
Give
any
me
of them, Felix says, what would make an after dinner drink?
After dinner drinks, I would stick to things like your Cynar and your
Vermouth.
vermouth. I'd probably steer away from the Campari. If you've had a really big meal and you put something that bitter in your body,
Mhm.
might go a bit too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd have a crack at just vermouth, some ice, and a slice of orange.
Oh, I like that.
Vermouth, some ice.
No, not for the tuna.
Is vermouth and soda a thing?
Yep. Absolutely. There you go.
It's really refreshing, actually, vermouth and soda.
I did, and the other thing that we haven't done is a straight vermouth spritz, which can also be done. Do you want some of this in there?
Can I have a dash of that, please?
Yep.
You have a dash in mine, I think.
Beautiful.
So yeah, the other thing you can do, and I did this last night, vermouth and prosecco.
Well, that's nice, actually.
Really good.
So I like the on the record, Cynar, vermouth and prosecco and a bit of soda. Nice.
But yeah, you can. The great thing about all of these things, all of these spirits you can mix with prosecco. All of these spirits you can mix with soda. All of these spirits you can mix with any combination of each other.
The funny thing with that, with the Cynar with the vermouth, is that they both have a lot of woodiness about them, so it brings out the woody side.
It's nice though.
But then the vermouth still makes it quite sweet as well.
So, Luke, of the thing that you've moved the entire shop round so that we can be looking at the aperitivo wall, what are the things behind you that we can spritz with?
Well,
Pretty much all of them.
this is a complicated thing. Italians created the word spritz. It has to include a wine,
Right.
and it has to include a bitter, or
Right.
a bitter spirit, or a maro.
Okay.
Now, the reason they call it a spritz is because they use a sparkling wine and a soda. You can just do it with a sparkling wine, as long as it's got wine, bitter, and bubbles.
Okay.
Now, the French don't really like this because they like to do spritzes that work for champagne. So they like to add fruit liqueurs and things like that. The Italians would argue it's not a spritz. We invented spritzes.
No,
So-
but having said that, this time last year in Paris, most sidewalk cafes had a spritz menu, and of course the first one is an Aperol spritz, and the second one was a Saint Germain.
Saint Germain spritz.
And after that, the other two or three were like, you go figure.
Yeah. So the French go for sweeter, fruitier sort of things. You've got your things like your Saint Germain, just elderflower. But the Italians, you can use any of our Amaros, you can turn into a spritz. Any of the vermouths on that row above Eva. Even
Oh, yeah.
things like what you can't quite see is juniper, genepe, bitter liqueurs that aren't Italian. And then from
You're
there,
out
you can
of
even
shot
do-
up there.
Yeah, no, it's not enjoyable.
Not in shot, you can even do absinthe.
Ooh.
Because very traditionally, vermouth is all about
Wormwood.
wormwood. So yes, you can do an absinthe spritz.
There you go. Now, what is the difference between Aperol and Campari? They're very similar colours. Why are they different? And they're owned by the same company, aren't they?
They weren't originally.
Oh, they weren't original. Okay.
Aperol was always made to be aperitivo.
Hey, Luke, it says it's a riccetta.
A riccata.
Riccetta.
Yeah. So it kind of falls within the same mark in terms of the sugar content as Cynar. So something like Campari has a very low sugar content, which is why it's so bitter. Aperol is a bit sweeter, and much like the Cynar. So it's all about sugar levels and how much.
And as everybody knows, Aperol spritz.
Yeah.
We could cop that and just done Aperol spritz here today, but we talked about that. No, that's a bit
No.
too. It doesn't tell enough of a story.
When
It just
you-
says, oh, here's an Aperol spritz, really trendy, everyone's drinking it.
But at the end of the
End of
day,
story.
the origin of spritzes was about bitter.
Oh, I see. 40 minutes.
And I hate to say it, Aperol just isn't as bitter as some of the other really interesting Italian things out there.
Yeah. And would Cava work in place of Prosecco?
Yeah, I reckon you could pull it off.
Sorry, that was way too in sync.
That's
Very
okay.
big gulps,
Oh,
and then
okay.
going, oh,
Yeah, you could pull it off. I wouldn't use the champagne
no.
unless.
The Cava's much more similar to Prosecco. It's much.
sure.
It's
I
much.
still think Prosecco's
lighter.
easy. It's just lighter and just.
Oh,
If
Cava.
you did want to use a French sparkling, you'd have to specifically look for a Blanc de Blanc.
Yeah, even that's going to be too harsh.
No.
But even then, it's too hard.
There's plenty of Proseccos.
And Lisa says, where did a Bellini come from? Is that not a spritz?
Bellini technically isn't called a spritz because it doesn't have a bitter in it.
Okay.
But it was very, very basic. They had sparkling wines, Prosecco's, sodas going around all the time. and that was like a very normal aperitivo drink. And a lot of the places that served these, in the mornings there'd be breakfast bars that do your juice and your breakfast and your coffee. You go in, you get a juice and a coffee or whatever, you drink it standing up and you get out of there. They'd close, then they'd reopen in the afternoon and be an aperitivo. So basically you had these places that were serving juice and Prosecco. And then you get something.
So your leftover juices became.
So yeah, exactly. So it was just about using whatever you had to make a good drink. And if you'd opened some of your juice, then you may as well use it. And you know what? It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Well, I'm pretty keen on this spagliato.
Yeah, that spagliato is ripper.
Wow.
I also think
Deliciousness.
all three of these absolutely knock us Aperol Spritz out of the park.
Yeah.
There you go.
That is
Particularly an Aperol Spritz that comes out of a tap. No! Don't do it, Melbourne.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, do we have any last comments on? I think we could go on and on forever. But is there any
I think
final comments?
my favourite spirit of the three would be the Cynar, and my favourite Spritz would be the spagliato.
That's my vote.
Let's move into it. Ross.
I'm really quite. I haven't had the Cynar as a spritz before. I'm really quite keen on it.
It's pretty good.
I mean,
That's
you
what
can
I'm
have it
pretty
with
good about.
soda and orange and a slice of orange and on ice. It works. But I mean, as a spritz, that was good. I'm surprised, delighted, and excited by that.
Yeah. So
There you go.
That's a discovery.
But the spagliato is still the easy one. You're like, next time you get there, go, oh, I got this much that left. What am I going to do with that? Well, add the same amount of vermouth, shove it in the fridge,
Bada bing, bada boom.
then you're off.
and the other thing is, there's a lot
Ready
of
for tomorrow.
bitter liqueurs out there. So if you don't like one of these, try something else. I've never been a huge fan of Amaros, but in a spritz, love it. And there are some I do like.
But there's a lot of things up here that the recipe's the same, isn't it?
Whole wall we can do pretty much this week.
So.
Right, well, we better get started then.
Indeed.
I've been working on it, Vivian.
Well, if this could be the summer of spritz. Bugger COVID-19, we're just, no, spritz.
True.
Actually, while we're at it, it is Ross's birthday this week.
On Saturday.
So, happy birthday, Roscoe.
Happy birthday, Ross.
He'll
Thank you, everybody.
disappear a few drinks between now and then that you watch.
Yeah, I think it was on Tuesday. He was going, oh, I really feel like a Negroni. And we're like, well, you have the day off tomorrow. And he was like, no, I'll wait. He's like, I want lots.
he said, I've got the day off, but I've got to get up and do things. And I can't have a Negroni. And I said, it's because there's no such thing as one Negroni.
Well, yeah,
for
because I was
us."
like, just have one. And then you turned to me, you're like, he doesn't just want one. And I was like,
No.
"Oh, okay."
It's not what he wants. He will just want one. But once he's just had the one, he'll just want another one.
I hate to point this out, but Negroni is technically plural.
Yeah.
Indeed. Beautiful. Well, fantastic.
Yum, yum.
So thank you, Michelangelo. Thank you again.
Thank you, Michelangelo.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody, and thank you everybody for ordering. It is absolutely keeping us awake and
if
alive
you haven't already ordered for next week, get in ASAP if you're in the Melbourne area.
because we are doing dun 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 dun
Malbec.
Malbec.
by unpopular demand.
No. I've been so excited to do Malbec.
Me too.
I've been stirring the pot on getting Malbec on the books. So we've got 3 Malbecs. We've got an Australian Malbec,
This one.
an Argentinian Malbec, and a French Malbec.
Woo!
From-
All 3 different price ranges, 3 very different wines. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
Tune in next week.
And
the
then-
week after that, we're doing some international whiskey.
And then the week after that, we're having an international whiskey off.
Whiskies.
So we're
you'll
doing-
find out more later.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sneak preview.
Yeah, sneak preview if you can read a label that fast. But yeah, a couple of people have been asking when we'll do another whiskey one. Here we are thinking we've done too many. But, you know, we'll do what is demanded of us and put our body on the line.
Yeah, and indeed the usual we'll do the half bottles for 45 and the full bottles for 65.
Yep.
Let us know. Fantastic. Well,
Awesome.
happy birthday, Ross.
Happy birthday, Ross. Thank you very much to Ilaria and Matteo for the gorgeous food.
Yeah.
Thank you to the team for working so hard. Thank you everybody for ordering. And we love you lots.
Need a drink.
Yeah.
Thank you for drinking.
Bye.
Bye.